Greetings to everyone. Welcome to Datagaps Software Update Webinar Spring. I am Pooja Gupta, Growth Marketing Manager at Datagaps, and I would like to thank you all for joining us today. Today in this webinar on Datagaps Spring Product Innovation Update, we will share the glimpses of Datagaps DataOps Suite 2025 first release updates along with demo environments. And on the panel today, we have Jinesh Jayesan, Director of Technology, and Ramesh Kovvuru, our Product Manager. Now to start the session, I hand this over to Jinesh and Ramesh. Jinesh, the stage is all yours.
Okay. Thank you so much, Pooja. All right. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the webinar. Specifically in this webinar, we'll be talking about for the DataOps Suite, the latest release, which is just few weeks away, will be mostly available by 21st. The planned release is 21st of April. And we'll be going over the agenda for today. It would be more about talking about what's new you are going to get on the DataOps Suite as a platform, and what are the updates you are going to get on the product side, as well as we'll be talking about what's upcoming feature post this 2025-20, what is there in our roadmap, which will be coming in the next upcoming releases. Okay, to go ahead with the platform updates, I'll be taking care. I'm Jinesh, and for the product updates, my colleague Ramesh will be walking you through, and then we will be discussing about the next upcoming features. So to start off with, let's get started on the platform updates. Okay. So when coming to the latest release, which is coming like 2025.2, we have a lot of features which are added on the DataOps Suite on the different products, as well as on the different features. So out of those, we have picked a few of them, the major features which are bucketed on these different areas. So some are on the data sources, some on the data flows, engine, and as well as on the reporting and monitoring side. Yeah, to get the complete list of the features and updates which are coming up in 2.0, we'll be publishing the release notes that you can scan at the end of the this presentation, and you can get all the information that, okay, apart from these features which you are going to talk now, what else you are going to get on this entire list of 2.0 updates. Okay, to move ahead next, we will be going ahead with so I'll be walking you through the slides on each of it, and then in the meantime, once for the each bucket, once I am done presenting about this data flows or other features, we'll be just quickly jumping into the application to see like how exactly these have been implemented, and just give a high level idea that, okay, this is how these features can be used. So let's get started with the data sources first. So in the data sources, first edition we have is edition of Microsoft Fabric support, which we have. Previously we had from the Microsoft, we had SQL Server and Synapse. Along with that, now we have connectivity with Microsoft Fabric. So with this connectivity, when there's a data source, you can test your data end to end in the DataOps Suite, and you can create the data flows, and you can create DB flows and all other components, all the features you can use by connecting to this data source, and make sure the quality of Fabric Development Analytics is top class. And moving ahead to the next editions which we have on the data sources area is Oracle Analytics and the publisher support. So coming to this, this enables us to have a connectivity with Oracle Analytics and Oracle Analytics Publisher, these two data sources which we have, and we can connect with the different different connections by to have OS, EOS, or OBI, and it enables to connect to different OA data sources to enable to test this BI reports, and making sure that the reports data validation, we can do it in the DataOps Suite, as well as we can do the other BI related operations or the BI related validations, other components which we have similar to the Tableau and the Power BI, like regression component, upgrade components, and upcoming it would be the stress testing for the OA. So it enables the entire it was part of the thick client where it was supported so far, and now with these inclusions, this complete migration of um, support of the Oracle Analytics, the similar to the thick client, now we have the same support on the web version, that is DataOps Suite. Now jumping into the next feature update, it's on the data flows side. So there was some of the ask which we had from the different customers as well as from the different users as well, that whenever there is a migration use cases between the one environment to the another, we didn't have an option of like directly a user interface where you could simply export all the data flows and then import into another environment. So we could import it, but it was like data flow by data flow or through CLI. Now we have enhanced this feature that you can export entire data flows. So that export was already there, that you can export multiple data flows as a zip. It's just that now you can import that into a data flow. So whenever you have use cases where you wanted to migrate or migrate your test cases from one environment to another, or move your test cases from one container to another. So this would be the feature which might be very helpful, and it will save a lot of time. Just instead of importing one by one through the UI, now it would be much more easier for migrating your data flows. And similar to that, we have one more feature available. It's more on the edit part. So till previous versions of like the 1.0, it was more of you can edit only one data flow at a time, and it was somewhat like more time consuming. That if you have a requirement where you want to update, or like as a batch, you want to update a lot of data flows at once, all the test cases, and we didn't have that option. Now it is added, so you can simply go ahead and pull whatever the data flows you want to edit at one shot. You can have a view, as you see in the screenshot here, that whatever you want to select, you can change it and simply you can save it. So let's go through this on that application. We can quickly check on this product. How does this work over there? So this is my data flow view. In the data flows, you will get an option here to import data flows. So first we'll talk about the import data flow, and then we will be going ahead with the bulk edit data flows. So in the import data flows, it takes us to this screen. So this here in this screen, you can import one data flow, or you can import a batch of data flows. So here you can simply import whatever the exported data flows you have. You can choose out of these zip file what were the data flows it is coming, which are the ones you want to select. I would go for importing all, and you can choose to retain the original folder structure. Let's say from one environment to another, if you are migrating, you can retain the same, or you can change to put it to a specific folder, and you can choose which engine you want to choose. So either you can select a specific engine, or if you have set a engine for your container, default engine, that by default you can use it. And here I am choosing one cluster which I have, and then once you go ahead, it shows up all the data flows here. Here, this is the same way that you can edit individual data flows, and if you have to make any changes here, as you can go to next step. And this is the part where we are making sure that whatever the dependency the data flows has, maybe it is on some of the data sources which is coming from one environment might not be present in the other one. So it would be maybe with a different name or something. Here it was the same name, so this intelligence there that it auto maps it. But just in case if it is not able to match, you will have to provide that specific data source, that okay, in this environment I have this specific data source, and then simply once you once the import is done, your data source, all the data flows are mapped with this new data sources in the other engine. So yes, the system takes care of everything. We don't need to manually go and change each data flows to select the servers, data sources. And also this logical data sources variable. This is not the environment related data flows which we have imported, but otherwise, if it is the case, then it will ask for mapping those variables also, like data source variables as well as the cluster variables. So this is on the part on the data flow bulk import side. Now coming to the bulk edit. So let's see. So this is the option which you have to choose for that. And once you select, you can choose which are the data flows you want to edit together. Maybe I can select all of it, and it comes up with this screen where all these fields which are listed here can be updated at once. So you can change the data flow name, tags, engine owner, and then description. The owner is the new additions which we have. So this is like who is the primary owner for the data flows, that you can set it up so that it makes it clear that okay, who exactly owns this specific the test case and the data flow. So this is pretty much on the data flow side. Let me go back to the next set of the enhancements, and that's pretty much on the engine. Yeah, coming to this part, the Kubernetes support we have added a few releases back, and it was also like we didn't have the time we didn't have a centralized a view of this Kubernetes management screen where you can see only the engine which are type Kubernetes, and then starting, stopping, and all those features were like part of another view. So now this is enhanced. The cluster screen primarily has enhanced to have Kubernetes as a type, where you can launch your Kubernetes engine, you can update it, you can delete it, and then that's the place where you can see from what are the sessions running on each of the clusters, and because the Kubernetes engine can be launched from the pipeline too, we have that entry here that it will show that okay, from which pipeline this specific cluster is started. So all those is available on this view. So this is gonna help all the admins, and then to reduce the overhead they had to check on okay, which are the engines which is running, and then so everything is a one-stop place for all your Kubernetes clusters. I'll go through it on that application once we'll cover this two more topics on the engine. And the next one which we have is multiple engine creation on the pipeline task. So the previous releases we had a support for creating one single pod for Kubernetes, and then the rest of the data flow, the pipeline task used to run on that specific cluster. So now we have an option that okay, if your pipeline is a large pipeline, you have a lot many data flows to run on it, then you can not only one pod, you can start multiple pods, and all those tasks which are present in the pipeline, those will be distributed among those pods. And if your pipeline is running parallel, all the tasks are running parallel, these can do all the parallel processing, all the concurrent executions, and definitely is gonna enhance the performance. The time taken for the pipeline will drastically come down. So whenever you have such requirement where you have a typical use case is where you have an iteration task which runs over a list of set of values and running through, it is having too many iterations to be done, or your pipeline has many parallel tasks to be done. Those specific use cases will be the best suited for launching multiple pods. Or if it is a small pipelines and all, definitely it can go with just starting one pod and then running on as it used to do earlier. And next on this line we have is the container specific engine. So today, as of today, all these engines which are created is shared between the containers. So we didn't have that isolation there that, okay, if we have, so some of the engines I wanted to use by some of the teams or some of the users who have a specific container accesses, but it was shared, right? All the engines were shared. So this is one major enhancement which we have, that Still, by default, it would be shared across the containers. But if you have a specific requirement that for the specific team or for the specific container, I want to isolate my engine, then simply you can do a container to engine mapping, and it would be available. So in for that container, only those engines will be available which admin has assigned to. So if you create a data flow, only a subset of the engines will be available which are mapped to that container. So this gives a more privacy of your engine, and then if you want to keep it isolated, would be the best use case for that. Now let's go ahead and take a look into this engine changes which we have. So this is the first thing which we have talked about is the centralized place for the Kubernetes engine. So this is where you see this is a different engine we support today: Spark, EMR, Databricks, and then this addition is the Kubernetes. And here you can see the different engines which are created and from which are the different pipelines these are created. Those are shown here. These two which doesn't have a pipeline name, it just started from here. You can launch a Kubernetes engine from here based on the different templates you can create. And as well as you can look into the sessions which are already running for each of it once you drill down. And as well as you can do the other operation like edit, delete, and make one of this engine as a default for this container. And coming to the second feature which we're talking about, it's more on the pipeline. So this is a typical example which I was talking about. So here the Kubernetes start is the one where initially you could do only start one engine, and now I have mapped it for 4 engine for, let's say, for this specific set of tasks. I need 4 pods to be started. You can define it over here. You can set that, okay, if all are created, then only I want to run, or even if it is one is available, I want to run. Those options you have here. And if so this is the typical case which when you have like iteration task which runs with, let's say, a number of the parameters and all, it runs on the has to run on one pod, right? So you can distribute, you can create multiple pods, and then you can run the pipeline. So this definitely boosts up the performance a lot. And now coming to the last feature on the engine which I was talking about was more on managing the clusters. So here, this is a cluster management screen you might be familiar with. And then here, this is a new addition. This is a container mapping. You can enable the container mapping, and then it will list down all the containers which you have, which I have access to primarily as an admin. And I can select which are the ones cluster I wanted to see it over here. So whatever I have created is already coming up. Anything else I want to do it, that I can add it once this selection is done. I'll be seeing only those subsets of the engine for the each container. So that's pretty much on engine side. Now let me quickly go over on the next set of updates, which is the reports and monitoring. So on the DataOps Suite, we are continuously working on having a better and better experience on the reporting. So we had the custom reports where you can add your own custom widgets on different custom widgets are already available. You have predefined widgets for the data flow and the pipeline. Those you can drag and drop and create your own reports on the specific features which are running across, right? So, and apart from that, now in 2.0, we are gonna ship some of these curated reports. So which we think that it would be very helpful for you to get an instance of like get a insight into all the recent activities, so for different features. So now we'll be having for data for the DB flows and data model pipeline. For specific features, you have all these reports already available handy, just to see how it is running today, what are the data flows running, and then what are the different history, everything at one place, and the reports. Still we will be having that at the feature level where we had the recent run screens, the report at the feature level that still be there, but this is an addition to it. We have it in the reports part. So let's quickly we'll check on it. Maybe I just after we'll go over the monitoring part also. So in the previous releases, we have added monitoring screen where you can see across the container for the pipelines primarily that, okay, what are the pipelines which are running and which has run on the different containers. And so based on the timestamp, you can see what are the ongoing running. So this specific feature was very helpful for tracking and checking if something is not going as per the plan, if there is any issue on running the test or running the pipelines. So this was the screen where you can go, you can have a holistic view of all the containers where you'll see, okay, which is the pipeline, it's not performing as expected, something is abnormal. That's all you can see it at one place. Now we have enhanced it for the data flows and the DB flows as well. So let's quickly take a look into these part too. So let's check on the reports first. And yeah, this is the report this is the curated reports. You'll see a tab here, and then so these reports also the old tabs, these ones. Curated report is the default landing page. So whenever you get into it, you'll get a view of data flows which are running. And so this is the recent runs, and this gives you all the information. Okay, what are the ones which are the recent runs of all the data flows. But if you want to see all the other history, whichever has run within this run date and all, so you can just quickly filter it. It will show you all the details over here. And if you want to see the history in the detail here, you can see the run details, this part. And the same information is available for the DB flows, data model, and pipeline as well. So let me quickly jump into the next enhancement, which we have to talk about is the monitor. So this was the pipeline monitor, which was available previous release. Now we have two more menu options here. One is for the data flow, and here you can see that these are the different runs which we had. So this by default it comes for the today's view, and you can check on this whatever the containers I have access, those comes up here. And coming to the different view which we have, so this shows us on the timestamp view, and then once you go over here, you can see as a kind of a calendar view here, and it shows what are the different data flows has run. You have some filter options, and these are some more additional options given in the latest releases that you can search for some of the failed or error, any specific runs, just to figure it out that, okay, so if I want to just check on that something which just went wrong, right? So that all the information you will have, and you can get a monthly view as well as the weekly view for these monitors. So this is pretty much on reports and monitor side. And next, let's go ahead and I want to talk about the architecture side. With the addition of so now this Gen AI as well as the AI engine, now in the DataOps Suite we have introduced agentic AI support, and we already had an integration with OpenAI and Azure OpenAI in the previous releases too, for the automated query generation part, where you can pass on the data and then it can simply generate the query. But now at different places in the DataOps Suite, we have integrated with our own embedded LLMs, and it supports even OpenAI LLMs and Azure OpenAI as well, and multiple agents which can generate the queries. It can generate the code, and makes the life so easier to work with the components. So we'll discuss about in detail once we'll go further. But I just want to talk about on this architecture. So typically DataOps Suite, it goes with this the three-tier architecture mainly. So the server part and the engine and the repository. So these three layers which we have. Now we have integration of GenAI services as a service. So these are the interfaces which interacts with our server, like UI for the test case creation. Then it goes to the AI engine, where we'll be having all our embedded LLMs residing, and then agentic AIs which are there to support for the query generation or any other code generation on the different places, so that it can help out. So that's pretty much on the architecture side, and we'll dig into it in little deeper. So Ramesh will be taking us over on the product updates. There we'll be talking about more on this. So that's pretty much on the platform update side. And Ramesh, over to you for the product updates.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you, Jinesh. Okay. So today I was going to talk about the product updates in DataOps Suite. So typically we have, so DataOps Suite is a suite of products, right? So we have ETL Validator, BI Validator, and DQ monitoring and all things. So today I will specifically talk about ETL Validator and BI Validator and DQ monitoring things. So coming to ETL Validator, we have a few set of enhancements we have in this Spring, like agentic AI support in query generation and rule generation, as well as description generation for tables and columns, as well as SQL formatter. So it arranges all the random SQL queries in a structured format for you. And on the BI side, you have STP, or like test plan, and filter data sets, and BI analyzer for analyzing Tableau reports, as well as on the DQ side, we have Unity catalog integration, as well as Lineage capacity and the data model profiling as well. So let me go product by product, and I'll discuss about each one, and I'll demo it live as well. So let me get into the ETL validator items. So the first one is like automatic query generation using agents, DataOps agents. So previously we used to support OpenAI and Azure OpenAI, where we directly interact with those servers, typically generate queries and rules and all these things. But now we have an embedded LLM where we ship along with our application, which has agents which supports you to just interact with it, like just ask a typical English question, some random question, and it generates you a valid query out of it. It has all the knowledge base, so about the tables, columns, the descriptions of it, the sample data, and everything with it internally. And it generates you a query based upon your questions. So why this will be more helpful is like it helps like generally the QA testers or ETL testers or ETL developers, right? Sometimes there will be like very complex queries where people will be struggling in writing those queries, joins and all, right? So this agent will help you in defining, like generating those queries using LLMs, as well as it reduces the time, and it helps you in all the cases, and it enhances the productivity as well while creating the test cases. So this is one enhancement. And coming to the other is the description generation for tables and columns. Generally, we do have all the tables and tables in the databases, right? Where few of them holds up the descriptions for the table as well as columns, but majority of the cases there won't be any descriptions or valid descriptions also. So our agent, so our LLM will support you in generating valid descriptions for table as well as columns. So this will help us in generating meaningful or accurate queries when you are trying to generate test cases. Okay, and the other part on the ETL validator side is SQL formatter. So this was a ask from many of our customers where they are writing their queries, and it's hard for them to understand if they are writing or getting a query from some other places and just copying it into our application. And it's hard for them to just analyze the query. So we added this formatter where you just click on a button on top of it, and it formats the SQL query in a structured way where you can easily analyze the query. Okay, let me switch into the live demo where I'll show you all these three features firstly. So firstly, I'll just go with the description on the data models by now. And so when we get into data models, we create a data model and we import tables from the respective connection. And once you have these tables created, and so you will have an option here where you can generate descriptions. I'm like, so this is an option where you can generate descriptions. When I click on, I'm like, when I select these tables, so ideally we'll have like two options here. One is to retrieve sample data, where we can fetch the data from this respective source, which will be used in generating rules as well as other items. So once I generate sample data, even I can view the data in my window itself. And then next step is to, so right now if you see, right, you don't have any descriptions for this particular table, or if you get into this and if you see at the column level, you don't find any description fully here. So now if you go ahead and generate descriptions for these things, right, it passes, sorry. So I need to select the tables for which I want to generate descriptions and just click on this button, and the agent behind it understands the metadata of this table and generates a meaningful description for what does this table do. So if you see, right, this one shows you a description. This is a list of actors in the database along with their names, the stuff which is very meaningful to things, as well as it generates a column level description. So as we saw it previously, we used to have only description for actor ID, but now we have descriptions generated for all rest of the columns as well. So this is helpful in having this descriptions. When we created all the tables with all these descriptions and all, right, this is one area where it will be more helpful for the users to generate descriptions and all. So once we have all these descriptions and all, right, and the next step is to generate queries, right? So that will be having that option, that agent, right, that will be present in the data flows. So whenever you create a JDBC connection, right, so you will have to select the respective data source here. So what data source you are about to connect to and fetch the data. So if you get into the query tab, you will see a window here, Copilot window, where you need to select the respective data model, which has all the stuff, right? The sample data, the descriptions, metadata, everything. It holds up a knowledge base in our application. Okay. So the moment you just chat with it, right, you just send a question like, okay, I want this on this from these respective tables. So the knowledge base behind sends additional information along with your prompt to the LLM, and it generates you a meaningful query, which can directly like apply into the editor, and you can just use it and run it, and you can see the results out of it. In the same fashion, so this is another example where I generated a different set of query altogether. So if you see, right, I just ask a question like, I want customers data from beverages. It gave me a query which is a little invalid, but when I modified it a meaningful prompt, right, it started giving it gave me a valid query which executes, and I can even see the results out of it. Okay, and the other point which I was talking is about the format of SQL query. Let's say this is a SQL query, right, which is a raw SQL query. But if it is a little hard for any user to analyze this query, right? So here we'll have an option for formatting this query. It's on just a button click, it formats each and every line of query into a structured format where a user can analyze it easily. Okay, these are the major enhancements on the ETL side, and let me get into the other ones where I talk about the PI validated product items. So the major enhancement, we added support for stress testing for both Power BI reports as well as Tableau reports. So this feature we used to have support in the thick line previously, and now we are enhancing it to support in our web version as well. And why this is more useful, like it simulates the user behavior. You can apply the load, how load on the mission, how your reports behave when there is a huge load on your environments, right? That this STP mimics that behavior without you getting logged in manually. This feature will help you in mimicking the behavior of end user. Okay, this is one good feature where it gets the load, it identifies how much load or stress it can bear, the application can bear. And the other one is this filter data set for Tableau and Power BI. So in the previous release, we used to have support for Power BI reports to generate filter combinations and run it through iteration tasks for all the set of combinations generated. Now we enhanced it for Tableau reports as well, and there is a slight enhancement towards the Power BI reports as well. Previously, we used to have only categorical filter support. Now we enhanced it for hierarchical and advanced filters as well. So this gives us more flexibility and more validation when we are running reports with different set of combinations or different set of selections. And the other one from the BI side is the BI analyzer for Tableau. So this is an interesting feature altogether, like where so generally when we are developing Tableau workbooks, right, there will be a lot of unused fields, a lot of data sources which was not used, and there will be like measures which is not being used in the reports and all. Like, so this analyzer will analyze all those things and brings up to you in the UI where you can see all these unused fields and what are the measures we have and things like that. And even it brings up the formats, like what is the fonts we used and what are the colors we have in our workbooks, and even the font styles also. Okay. And along with this, we have certain predefined rules where we can check for the workbooks, like how many data sources it contains and our number of dashboards or views it should hold up. And these are like checks we do while analyzing these reports, whether those are meeting to the standard or not. This is ideally the best practices. Okay, let me get into the demo of these items. So all these three features will be available under the BI DevOps menu, where you can see all the items here. Like the first one, I go with a stress test plan. So you see, right, this stress test plan supports for both Tableau as well as Power BI. So let me open the Power BI one. Okay, so when you open a stress test plan, right, this is the one which I already created. If you want, you can just create a new stress test plan where you just select the source, import your reports, and done. It gets like it renders the report or it embeds the report into our application, and you will be having an option to apply filters manually, or if you want to apply these filters over a filter data set, the one which I explained previously, right? You can even apply that as an input to this, so that while running this stress test plan, we use a random filter combinations from the entire list, and we start executing that, and we mimic the end user behavior. So let me get into the results of this one. This takes a little time to execute, ideally the time we set actually. So if you see here, right, so this is a behavior, the results of this STP, how it ran. So here I used 2 reports to run for this one, and the average open time for this report is 6 seconds, and for this report is like 5 seconds. And so we selected filter data set, right? And so every report, when we are trying to apply some filters, it takes some time to get applied. So this gives us a glimpse of like what is the average filter apply time of it. And so out of these report, we do have like multiple pages in it, right? So this max open time and max filter apply time gives us the maximum time for any of the report which took longer, right? And you can see this there any SLA failures or the response codes will give you a glimpse of like what are all done or what are all failures we find in this. And the graph shows you, right, how many users it's been simulating and how many concurrent logins it's happening in the respective time period. Okay, let me get into a detailed report here where it shows you like, okay, so this is a detailed thing of that particular report. Okay, it's opening the visualization and like the page and applying the filter and capturing it, and even you can see the snapshot of this as well. Like when this report opened and when this filter got applied on top of this, right? We can see the snapshot of that getting captured behind while running the stress test. So this snapshot capture will be random. So we'll capture like 50-60% of the all the runs, not every run. And you see, right, the previous one was just a report open, but this one as a report which some filters got applied to it. When you compare the snapshot, you will be able to understand, okay, this report is running with a set of filter combination. Okay, this is how it mimics the user behavior. The stress will be applied on top of your servers. The other one which I was talking about is filter data sets, right? Yeah, this is the other one. So where this also supports generating filters for our Tableau and Power BI. Power BI we used to have previously. Now we have support for Tableau as well. So when I open any report, so this is a simple thing, like just create a filter data set, just import the reports, and you will be able to, once you render the report, you select the values and just generate. It generates all the combinations in a grid format, or it you can even download this and modify a few things if required, and you can upload it. And you can use this in stress test plan as well as data flows when we are running through iteration, where same report runs with all the set of combinations available in filter dataset. The other one which I was talking about is advanced filter section. Right? So this is how we used to have it. We generate multiple combinations out of it, and yeah. So bad. Let me go to the superstring one. Yeah. So the hierarchical one and advanced filter or the min-max quantitative filter support we enhanced. Right? So this is how. So generally categorical or categorical filters were like just strings, right? When it comes to advanced filter or hierarchy filters, it will be in the form of a complex structure. So even now we are supporting even that also in the filter data sets. Yeah, this is on the and coming back to the BI analyzer. So the one which I was talking, right, which helps in analyzing and like identifying the optimization things what to be done on top of a workbook. So when you open this, like you will see like these are the set of reports I imported and analyzed, and so these are the checks I was talking about. These are the predefined checks, and these are the recommended values. If any of the recommended value doesn't meet with the actual, it comes as a failure, and if it meets or less than that, it comes as a successful report. And you can define. We support 10 set of rules or best practices. You can define your own value for all these things, and you can analyze your reports in supporting this. And the next thing in this is the field uses, where you can see all the fields which is used and all the fields which are unused in this particular workbook. Okay, and the next one is like measure consistency. This measure consistency we show here is like if there is any measure which is having same name but different definition in different reports. So here if you see, right, this profit ratio is a measure name which is part of two workbooks here, but with a different definition in each. This is the list is a comma separated, and the first one is of belongs to one report, the second one belongs to another report. That's how it will be. There is another section to this same definition or different name. So there will be few scenarios where we will be having the same formula, but the name will be different and it will be utilized in different workbooks. This is another thing. And the next one in this is like formats. So this is what I was talking about. We can see what are all the fonts we used and how many times it's been used, and colors, how many times it's been used in the workbook, and fonts, what are all fonts it's been used. These are all the values, the data which we show will help in optimizing the Tableau workbooks to make it faster and more effective. Okay, this is on the BI validator side, and let me get back to the slides where I talk about ETL data quality product. So the first one in this is the Unity catalog integration. So previously we used to have connection tool or like bunch of DDBC connections like Oracle, Postgres, SQL, Snowflake, all these things now, and we enhanced this to support Unity catalog also. So what it does, like it fetches the tables from Unity catalog into our application and allows users to leverage writing rules and identifying the scores of all the table and like scores for the tables or columns, and identify the data quality of these Unity catalog tables. It helps them like it improves the visibility, control, compliance, and see entire insights of the data. This is one thing, and the next thing is the data lineage capability. So lineage is one of the powerful feature where it allows you to see the data how it is flowing from one layer to another layer by having like things like what is it getting transformed, and even you have an option to see the score of it. So at what layer, what is the score of my data? This lineage, we have two sections to it. One is table level lineage, and the other section is column level lineage. I'll get into a detailed thing when I'm demoing it. And the other item in this is the profiling of data model. So previously we used to support only writing rules and generating quality of like DQ score based upon rules for the tables, and like tables in the sense data at rest we call generally. Now we are enhancing this to identify the profile of it also. So now we can calculate profile values of these data at rest, and it brings us more insights in uncovering anomalies or trends or the quality gaps what we have, right? Suddenly there was a lot of missing values coming in. That all can be identified over this. Okay, let me get into the live demo of this one. Okay. First, let me show you the Unity catalog interrogation. So Unity catalog is nothing but just creating a data model where you will have an option to select what type of catalog you want to. So previously we used to have data at rest, which falls under non-type, and Unity catalog. This goes to the Databricks or Azure, where we fetch the data tables from Unity catalog, and the other one is a data flow data model, which is a different set of item altogether. And if you see, right, I have a data model created, and I have few set of tables here where I define few rules and I ran it. So you see that these tables are getting from the Unity catalog. Now, let me get into the running history. I'll show you how it behaves. So if you see this, right, this is a rule run which I ran for the particular tables. So I define rules for 3 set of tables where each table contains 2 rules, 1 and 2. And you see that data on like quality score of all these. So for each rule, respect to the table, what is the score? If it is 100%, like if the rule satisfied all the conditions, right, it will be passed and the DQ score will be 100. If there is any failures, you will see that what is the failure percentage and what is the good records and what is the bad records and out of total records, and you can see that status has failed. This is the same feature how we used to do for data at rest. This we enhanced it to support for Unity catalog. The other one I was talking about is the profiling, right? So in the same data model level, we have this option to run profile as well. So if you see, right, we will be having an option to run profiling. So once you do a run profile, you will see a different run here altogether, which defines the profile run, where you can see the profile values calculated for each and every table here. So if you see, right, this raw customers holds 2 columns where you see min length, max length, distinct count, missing sum, and all these things. Let me go to a different table which has some table. So this is a table which have like 7 columns, right? And you can see what are all the profile values here. So you can compare between 2 runs and you can understand like what is the differences coming up in the profile, and you can like unveil the gaps in between, or is there any drastic changes happening in the data. So this is on the profile side, and coming to the lineage. So there's a powerful feature which I was talking about, and you see that in the data quality menu. So data lineage, you'll see all the tables, like data models you have here. And when you get into a particular data model and where you want to see the lineage, right? Yeah. So my M customers table has a lineage where it is coming from a raw stage to a staging stage and then to a final mark layer. So this is what I was talking about. So this shows you how the data is being coming from where and where it is traveling to and where it is residing at the end. So the data from this M customers table is getting generated from 4 tables from the raw stage, getting clubbed into or transformed into 2 tables in the staging layer and get clubbed into a single table at the mart layer. So this is at the table level lineage where you can see, right, the scores at each layer. So at the raw layer, my score was like 99%, and for each table it will be there is another level called column level lineage. I'll show you that in a minute. And this is at the staging layer. The score of my table is 100, and finally the mark layer it got to 94. This is some disturbances which can be resolved by the clients. And the other one which I was talking about is column level lineage. So this is just 2 views we have. One is a table level lineage where you see a high level thing, and this is a column level lineage where you see in detail granular level things, that what column has what information. So if I just click on any one of the things, right, it shows me here. So from where this data is coming into. At the end, if I see this is coming here and this goes from this table, and when I click on this one, it defines us, okay, from where the data is coming, from which layer to which layer, and how it is coming into the final state. This is how it comes. So this table, this column is being clubbed from four other columns from all the set of tables. Okay, this is one thing, and here we have different set of features here. If you see that this is my parent now, why? Because this is where I clicked, and this is my parent, and it shows 3 levels backward as well as 3 levels forward. If I let me make this as a parent. If I make this as a parent or as a primary table, then I will be able to see only the data present for this one, like 3 levels backward and 3 levels forward. Here I have only 2 levels, so it shows one back and one forward. So let me get back to that. So this is a full level lineage. So if I click on this or any table, it shows from where to where the data is being flowing. So if you click on this one, right? So if I click on that parent, it shows from where all the data is coming. If I want to see any intermediate one, if you just click on it, it shows you the intermediate and intermediate data, how it is being flown from one place to another place. I think that's on the lineage side, team. So I'll hand it over to Jinesh back to talk about a few next set of items coming in DataOps Suite in the next release. Jinesh, over to you.
Yeah, thanks, Ramesh. Thanks for walking us through the product update. So let me quickly go over on the next section, which we have. It's about talking about what's coming up next after 2025.20 version is released. It's just been in our continuous endeavor, to help creating the test case with the ease, like with the minimum, user inputs. If we can create the queries, we can create the code which can generate all your test cases. So through the help of this contextual AI capabilities which we have, with the very minimum manual effort, that we will be able to create the test cases, and the ones which Ramesh has explained, those we will be enhancing it, and it would be available for the key components. So today it was on the majorly on the JDBC and the code. The other side, we will be keep on enhancing it wherever in the what is all the key components, wherever we can use this agentic AI support to make it easy to use. Just that you just provide some of the inputs, and don't need to provide all the queries and all complex query. Let leave it up to the system and it take care of it. So that is how it's going to be the agentic AI support going forward for us. And then next enhancements we are going to do on the mapping manager. Already we have the mapping manager which holds up all the metadata, or like ETL mapping documents at one place for us. And now the next enhancements which we are going to do is, using that AI powered wizard, we will be going ahead and reading the transformations, the ETL transformations, maybe the code, or if you have ETL mapping document, maybe in the different formats, it will be able to read it, and then it should be able to create the test cases. So that is what is the next enhancements. We'll be going to do it on the mapping manager side, and then the next one will be on the version control of the data sources. So this is about deep integration with the CI/CD. So today we have support for the Git for major of the features, and now that we will be enhancing it for data source as well, so that whenever you want to migrate from one environment to another, one branch to another branch, it is just that you merge one branch to another, and then you just simply pull it, and whichever environment it is, and the rest of the all test, it will be ready to run without any manual changes there required. So those gaps also will be filled in, and then this is gonna come soon there. And next is the new no dependency pipeline. This is another type of pipeline which we are gonna be coming up in the next release, after 2.0, and this would be a rapid creation of the data flows or the task for the pipeline. So we don't want to have the drag and drop, and if you don't have a dependencies to be run within the task, just a parallel task. If you have to run, simply you have to just select what are the data flows, what are the data models or DB flows you want to run. Select it at one place, and a single go you will be able to create the pipeline. So the setup time for your test and all will be reduced drastically. So that's one thing which is going to come up soon on the platform side. And next we'll talk about the product updates which we'll be having. So BI Analyzer, which Ramesh has explained about, right? Like you get all the internal structure and the details, like what are the columns it is using, what are the fields which are not used. So those details which we have for Tableau will be enhancing in for Power BI also. And next, it would be the stress test plan for Oracle Analytics. STP is like definitely a very good feature on the Power BI and Tableau side right now. And this, as we have now Oracle Analytics support, the STP will be part of the next upcoming releases. And with that, it makes it like all the thick client related features are available on the DataOps Suite as well. And then with that, you can stress test, you can load test your specific reports, OA reports, just to see on the high load, how does it exactly performs with the different, user simulation. And next, we will be having a support for the Cognos. So this is another BI solution integration which we'll be having. And this would help you, like if you want to validate your report data on the Cognos, or if there is any migration cases from one BI product to another BI product. So you can, so if it is Cognos to Power BI or the other way around, you can just simply connect to the Cognos, and then the other BI source, just compare it and find it out if your all reports data is fine or not, report exactly looks same or not. And then coming to the data quality issue management, this is a data, so automatically detecting the data quality issues is already present with us. Now what's next? So next is to enable to track the issues, like what happens next, do the assignment, and then track those specific issues till the time it is got resolved. So all thing you can find it in the data quality there, that you can maintain the end-to-end life cycle of data quality issues from the day it is found. And coming to the last updates which I have here is which is upcoming is logging and app health monitoring. So it's just more on the platform side, where we'll be enhancing our log tracking so that faster resolution if anything gets up there, and as well as app health monitoring. So today we have it like as a set of monitoring, where it can tell what are the services are turning down and all those information, but we want to extend it to know that, okay, in whichever the system it is running, how that exactly the health of that system, and as well as how much is the CPU usage and the rest of the compute which is available. So with that, that's pretty much on the upcoming feature preview. And yeah, so this is the update on the planned release for the next upcoming release. 2025.20 is on April 21st, 2025. This planned. And the release note, you can find it out by scanning this QR code. And if you have any questions related to the upgrade, please reach out to support@datagaps.com. And then if you want to explore more about the products which we have discussed now, anytime you can reach out to contact@datagaps.com. So that's pretty much here. And Pooja, I think maybe we can go for any questions if we have.
Yes, we have two questions. First one is, will my data be used for training the LLMs?
Yeah, I'll take this. Ideally, yeah. So the data we don't use in training the LLMs. This embedded LLM which we are shipping, right? It resides in your premises. So no data is being used to train it. It's open source available model which is already trained. So to simply say, no, we won't use the data to training.
Great. And next is, how many Kubernetes pods we can start from pipeline?
Okay, so the Kubernetes pods from the pipeline, it depends on your specific use cases and as well as the computer, the system configuration, the engine configurations you have. So it is pretty much you can put the any number of pods you can create till the time your system supports it. But ideally, it would be like based on how many parallel executions you have, and on those execution pattern as well, it depends on.
Great. So thank you, Jinesh and Ramesh, for sharing the latest updates for DataOps Suite Spring update for 2025 first release, and as well as the hands-on understanding with the platform as well. Now, we have already covered the post Q&A. If anyone has more questions, or they come up with more queries in their minds, you can always connect with us. Also, we have we have shared the links for our release note link for DataGap's DataOps 2025 release. It is shared in the Q&A section itself, and you can contact us, as Jinesh has already shared, at contact@datagaps.com as well. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you all. Thanks, Pooja.
Thank you. Thank you.
And thanks so much. Yeah. Thank you. Bye.